Although Shaquille O'Neal will tell you Stevie Wonder can see. I don't know if you've ever heard that elevator story where Shaq is in the elevator and Stevie gets on and he's like, "Hey Shaq, how's it going?" He's like, "What the fuck?"
Welcome to Krush House. I'm your host, Wayne Allyn, the CEO of VegasWinners.com, and the man the media calls the king of Vegas sports gambling and America's odds maker. My company, Vegas Winners, sponsors the Krush House series, which includes this podcast, Krush House, as well as Krush House Cappers and Krush House Legends. I want to remind you to go to VegasWinners.com right after this podcast ends for one of my world-famous games of the year. Just register. It's simple, it's easy, it takes 1 minute or less, and you automatically receive $1,000 in free coupons. You also get 5,000 rewards points, which can be converted into gifts and prizes with our state-of-the-art cryptocurrency reward system. It's all at VegasWinners.com. We'll be right back. Right now, headed to Sean and Frank.
Stop me up! That's right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Krush House. I'm Frank Nicotero. Look, I'm pumped. Last night I saw the Rolling Stones at SoFi Stadium, and Mick and the boys killed it. Woo! Later on, Wayne Allyn, our high-energy front man, will keep rocking and giving you satisfaction with some free winners. But here first is Sean Salisbury, who will be coming to my emotional rescue because I had Brady and the Bucks -6.5 last night, making me a loser. I guess you can't always get what you want, right, Sean?
Yeah, I'll be your beast of burden if you'd like me to.
Go. See, he's playing along. It's my street fighting man right there. All right.
I love it.
But Sean, I mean,
you're out of your motherfucking mind, right? Just so I figure I'd throw that in there. But then again, so is Mick. So is Mick Jagger. So why not, right?
78 years old. The guy does a 2-hour and 10-minute cardio routine. Full head of hair. I don't know. Some people just get lucky. I don't know, man. The guy was amazing. But speaking of amazing older gentlemen for their profession, Brady last night, I think the first time he threw over 80%, completed 80% with over 40 attempts, which is an amazing stat. 34 of 42, they hold off the Eagles. They're now 5-1. What are your takeaways? I mean, I know the Eagles made a late push, but the Buccaneers are 5-1. You watched the game. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it was as close as we think it was, Frank. Yeah. You know, that late push, like you said, because you saw them kind of back off in the second half of the game, protecting the ball, handing it off. I don't see how. Now, I look at the Dallas Cowboys, the Rams. There are teams in the NFC who can compete, but what's not to like? Now, here's the only thing. If you run into it, let's just say the secondary, which is the biggest problem on that team. Hell, I would have traded for Stephon Gilmore or gone out and got him in 2 seconds flat, but he wanted to be in Carolina. Frankie, I don't know how you beat them when they're playing like this. Even when you can throw it on them, the problem is they can throw it on you no matter what you do. Yeah. And it is not inconceivable that Brady's going to win the most valuable player this year. He's leading the league in yards. It's stupid. It is friggin' stupid. Accurate. Frank, I think it was Steve Young, and I don't know if I've told you this. Steve Young may have said it, but I know I've repeated it many times. In all my life, that just when you figure it out mentally, I get asked this question all the time, well, the physical, mental, and emotional side at that position, right? Quarterback. And just when you figure it out mentally, like, oh, the light switch goes on. Damn, I know all the coverages, quite frankly, better than the defense does, which where Brady's at. See, Brady's been a quarterback longer than most of these dudes have been in the league, meaning coordinators and coaches.
I've been alive.
Yeah. And right. So when you think about it like that, it's like, well, just when you figure it out mentally, physically, you're not able to do it anymore. That's usually how it works, or you're at the very end.
Yeah.
But this dude's 44. He's as accurate. He's better than he was at 34 and at 24. I'm serious. He moves better now than he did, even though he doesn't scramble. His mechanics, and he does a lot of core work and stuff to slide and do what he does. The fastball's still there. It's like Nolan Ryan at his age.
Yeah.
And he's got command. And now this is as good a weapons, not named Gronkowski and Randy Moss, he's ever had. It's a pretty frightening prospect, but I picked him to win the Super Bowl last year going in over the Chiefs, and they did. There's no reason for me to think that there's anybody better than them right now. There are some teams that are close, Buffalo and the rest of it, but if you don't hit Brady, you're in trouble. So the key is, can their secondary get healthy, and can they keep up in a shootout? And I want you to keep an eye on the Dallas Cowboys offense as we roll through the rest of the season and their defense. But Tampa's a clear-cut favorite for me in the NFC to be a Super Bowl representative again. And he won't be done, Frank.
Yeah.
He will not be done.
And I know. That's what I mean. And he looks young. He's like Benjamin Button. He looks younger than he did 5 years ago. But, the other thing you mentioned when he had Gronk and Randy Moss. When he had Randy Moss, he didn't win the Super Bowl, right? They lost to the Giants. The thing is,
that was that undefeated season. They got beat in the Super Bowl, right?
And Antonio Brown is his third. Antonio Brown got to 900 catches faster than any receiver ever. I think he broke Marvin Harrison's record, if I'm not mistaken.
And he's third.
Is it third? Yeah. Is it third? Yeah, he's third option, right? Is that what I mean, this guy. And by the way, last night, his over-under for yardage in the game, Antonio Brown, was 65. And that was the bet I made. And I was keeping an eye on the game at the concert. And he had 58 in the first half. I'm like, all right, just get me a few catches. I hate betting on Antonio Brown. But I like money more than I pick sides in personality battles. But
hey, straight cash, homie, as our guy Randy Moss would say. Go get your page.
And the thing is they didn't really gear up until like later in the season last year. They look like they're hitting their stride. I mean, the Rams, that was a little speed bump, but I think they needed to lose a game. I think if they would have the pressure to go undefeated, that would have been tough.
I think, Frankie, it's absurd for us to put in a 17-game season undefeated on anybody.
Yeah.
And I almost, because it gets to a point where you play not to lose and to keep that record intact as opposed to cutting it loose and playing to win. What are they going to end up going? Let's say they go 14-3.
Right.
They'll have home field advantage throughout. The crazy thing about it is Brady doesn't need home field advantage. He can play just as well no matter where he goes. So
probably thrives on the road, right? Being the bad guy.
No question. Be the heel on the road, and he just keeps. When he has an average game, he completes 80% and throws for 275 and a couple touchdowns. It really is one of the most fascinating, I don't know, is it phenoms or whatever we call it, one of the craziest things in sports history that he's doing this. And I actually think we take him for granted.
Yeah.
I do.
Is it
I think we take him for
wrapped
granted.
in a riddle? Is that maybe what it is?
There you go. Hey, man, you're the guy with you're the wordsmith. So whatever you got, I'm buying into.
My high school education and a semester at Duquesne University. Now, speaking of undefeated teams,
the Fighting Norm Nixons, right?
That's
the Fighting Norm Nixons.
Norm Nixon. I remember he was already a Laker when I started watching basketball, right? And I remember the first time they flashed across the screen that he went to Duquesne. I mean, by the way, we're talking, the Chirons in 1980 were just terrible. But it said Duquesne, and I went, wait a second, that's here in Pittsburgh. So he was my favorite player because when I grew up in Pittsburgh, the Sixers were like a team that all my friends liked, but I liked the Lakers because when I was a kid, we lived here for a few years, and I loved Norm Nixon. And when I found out he went to Duquesne, I was like, oh my God, there's my favorite player.
So did you grow up when the Sixers were like George McGinnis and Andrew Toney and Mo Cheeks and Bobby Jones?
Mark Iavaroni and all that? Yeah.
And how about your guy, the greatest public address announcer ever, Dave Zinkoff?
Is that the guy's name? I wouldn't have known his name.
Dr. J called him, what did he call him? He called him the man, or maybe did he call him God? I can't, I don't want to be sacrilegious and get struck by lightning. But he was the one who would say, no smoking in the auditorium, please. And when he'd introduce the starting lineup, it would be like Daryl Dawkins. He'd introduce Daryl Dawkins. He'd go, Daryl Dawkins, no college. Yeah, it was Zink was the man. And Dr. J always called him the man. Yeah, Bobby Jones. Yeah, he was the best.
And they had Moses Malone, who also didn't go to college, right? So
that's right. That's
no
exactly
college.
Right.
Oh my God.
I love it.
Back to undefeated teams in the NFL. I know we got off track there, but that was hysterical.
I like getting off track. Fuck
I
that.
do too. Hey, by the way,
thing, right?
you're telling me there was no smoking? There was no smoking allowed in Philadelphia in the late 70s?
Yeah, in the auditorium. And Zink would say it. He'd also, like when the Lakers and Pat Riley was the coach. I remember it vividly because I used to listen to stupid shit.
Yeah.
I'm a wealth of useless knowledge. But I can remember Zink. He'd introduce the starting lineups and he got, that doctor. You know how he'd say it.
Yeah.
And he had that East Coast voice, and then he'd also say, Lakers, call time. The Lakers and the Sixers, thank you. I mean, talking about how many people were in the crowd. Yeah. Zink was one of the great public address announcers ever.
That no college.
No college.
No
That's right.
college. Oh my God! I just can't believe they weren't allowed to smoke. I mean, because everyone smoked. I'm from Pennsylvania. Everyone smoked.
Right.
I guarantee you that law was broken. It was like being on a non-smoking flight. I remember being a kid, and there was like that last row that was non-smoking, and then the row right behind you was smoking.
How'd that work? Hey, row 15-1, you don't get to smoke, but all the way in the back, and there'd be a fog, like a cloud up there. Yeah, and Dr. J shooting too. Yeah, I love it, man. Sixers.
Oh
love
my
it.
God. For some reason, you know whose face just popped into my head? Rick Mahorn. We got to get Mahorn back on come hoop season.
He'll know all of. I guarantee Mahorn knows who Zink is. I
Absolutely.
guarantee.
I'm sure he said his name right.
Attention sports bettors, I'm Wayne Allyn, the founder of Vegas Winners. I'm the man the media calls the king of Vegas sports gambling and America's odds maker. I'm the only sports handicapper to ever be awarded a 180-pound granite star on the Las Vegas Walk of Stars. I'm that good. Today I've got another of my world-famous college football games of the year. Sportsbook directors across America fear that name. Now you could play a Wayne Allyn game of the year without spending a fortune. The cost is $100, but go to Vegas Winners today and you'll get $1,000 of free coupons. Go to Vegas Winners right now. Register. It costs nothing. It takes 2 minutes. Then you'll get $1,000 of free coupons. Apply them to my game of the year or even a subscription. But you have to act now because only the first 10,000 to register get the deal. It's simple and easy. It's fully automated, completely private, no one to ever speak to. So what are you waiting for? $1,000 in free coupons and my world famous college football game of the year is waiting if you're among the first 10,000 to register at Vegas Winners now. All right, Wayne Allyn with the one and only Sean Salisbury, former NFL quarterback, former Grey Cup champion from our friends up north in Canada. And Sean coming to us from Houston. Houston, we have a problem. It's John Gruden. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, bud?
Good. I know you and I usually agree on everything. We're not big debaters, but we're going to disagree, I think, on this one because I know you think that Gruden, in today's environment, had to be fired. Give us your side of things.
Well, to me, it's simple. Listen, I've known John a long time. He's always treated me well, but the bottom line is I loved the guy, and I get it, but what he did was inexcusable. I mean, when you talk about the first email, we thought, okay, is there the race issue? But for 7 years, text or email after email after email. At some point, when does common sense come in? Now, that doesn't mean you turn away your back on him if you're his friend and don't give him love, but you had to replace him. He had to resign. I wouldn't know how you address your team. I mean, he hit it all. He hit the anti-gay, misogynistic, the race situation. And whether it's 1950, 1980, 2010, 2050, when does common sense kick in, whether it's in your soul? I don't know if John's racist or doesn't like, or he's misogynistic. I don't know. But the emails, the optics tell me he's got a problem. So for me, when does it kick in? You're thinking, you know what? This probably isn't real smart. And then if you're a player or a person or anybody reading them, you're thinking to yourself, okay, John, is the joke, okay, another joke, and 10,000 jokes, 3,000 jokes? There comes a point in time, John Gruden needs help. There is no question about it. So sometimes we all have laughed at something in our lives that we probably shouldn't have. But one after the other tells me that John Gruden, when it came to this situation, just doesn't get it. There is no way in hell you could have let him dress your team after that. John Gruden will never coach again. He will never be on the broadcast platform again. He's done.
All right, so here's a football question. Can the Raiders win without Gruden, or are they completely mentally screwed up now because they lost their father figure? What are they going to do now? How's the locker room reaction going to be, Sean Salisbury?
They got a job, Wayne, and I understand that some may be bothered by it. Some may have wanted him. Some may have said, I don't care. Some may have wanted him out. But the truth is, they're not canceling the game. They got to show up and prepare. I think you got to put trust in the interim coach. I would imagine, and I don't know if I believe in the rallying cries when some guy gets fired, they come back. It's how you prepare for the week. The week of preparation will be the toughest. I don't expect him to play any worse football than John's there because, quite frankly, I think John had some stuff as an X's and O's guy to work on, and I'm a diehard Raider fan, lifelong Raider fan. I would expect Derek Carr to continue to play well. I don't think it'll affect their preparation. If it does, they're going to have to get over it and move on because it's football and that's their job.
And you know what? I predict they'll get over it and move on in a week or 2 or 3. But this week it'll be mentally debilitating, in my opinion, because
it's just because all the questions they're going to get asked. the distraction of taking him away from preparation.
Derek Carr sounded like he's got to be careful what he says, unlike me, who's we're an opinion thing here. But Derek Carr was very careful how he responded, but it sounded like he's with me. It sounded like Derek Carr was saying, hey, this guy is my coach, and I don't care what he said.
You could still love John Gruden and not agree with what he did. You could still be his friend, like Derek Carr said. I love him. I don't agree with the send. There you go.
All right. Most dynamic player in the NFL you wanted to talk about?
It's Lamar Jackson. Now, when I say
Monday
that,
night.
Say, well, do you think he's the best quarterback? No. I mean, there's the best of something. Brady's the best pocket guy. Kyler Murray is a lot like Lamar Jackson with the ability to buy time. Josh Allen and Herbert, good gracious, they're great. But he is like two things. He's the most dynamic player in football because it doesn't matter where you are, how far you're down. The guy's legs and feet and his legs and his arm can beat you. He's also getting better from the pocket. He delivered the ball last week from the pocket at a whole new level for Lamar, and he's taken it to another level and continues to shut people up who had him as a wide receiver coming out of school. And he's already won one MVP. Number two is, and I can guarantee you this from people I've talked to in the league, when I was playing and now, the most difficult guy to game plan on the planet because he can kill you in so many ways. It's Lamar Jackson. And as far as dynamic goes, I'm not sure right now it's not a distant second for somebody else.
But I can't argue with you because here's the thing I've noticed. Baltimore lost their entire running back crew. Everybody. There's no other quarterback in the NFL that could win without any running back. They're down to like 5th and 6th string running backs, which doesn't work in the NFL. But it works when you got Lamar Jackson at quarterback. So I can't argue with anything you said there. So we're back on track again, Sean.
There you go.
Last but not least, what's the biggest surprise in the NFL through 5 weeks of NFL action?
The biggest surprise of 5 weeks through NFL action. Well, you mentioned one, how a guy overcomes what he's overcome.
How about my Dallas Cowboys? Got to be one of the biggest surprises.
That's where I'm going. It's not just the Cowboys, because I trusted Prescott, and you know how I love him, and I know how you feel about him, that I actually think right now that the Dallas Cowboys are not just kind of a threat to come out of the NFC. They are a real threat. They're a threat to Arizona. If Arizona played Dallas right now on a neutral site,
close
in Los Angeles, I would take the Cowboys to win. I would, because I think their defense is elevating, and when their run game with Pollard and Zeke are hitting on all cylinders, and they're healthy at the wide receiver, that's one of the bigger surprises in the league. Without question.
But you got to give credit to Dan Quinn and that defense.
That's why I said the defense, the way Micah Parsons and Diggs are playing.
You know what Parsons reminds me of? Parsons is like the New York Giants. Why am I forgetting his name? The greatest linebacker. Lawrence Taylor. He's a wild man. He's all over the field, and you can't prepare for him because you don't know what position he'll be coming from. Reminds me of when I was a kid growing up. When I was 20 years old, Lawrence Taylor was the superstar of the Giants, and he was winning every game from the linebacker position. This kid, Parsons, can take over the defensive entire games. Amazing. Right. So
I'll tell you real quick, Wayne, one more thing is how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it's not a surprise, but how they continue to stay hungry and Brady. You know what I'm saying?
Brady.
You'd think at some point they'd get fat and happy. He's leading the league in passing at 44, playing better now. So there's a lot of them, and how quickly the Pittsburgh Steelers have kind of fallen off a cliff right now offensively.
You know, the reason I love Brady is, look, I'm 60 years old, and I work out 90 minutes a day every day, and I'm obsessive about my diet, pure keto, pure protein, nothing, no pasta, no bread of any kind, no potatoes of any kind. I mean, I'm obsessive like Brady, and I pop 100 vitamin pills a day. I'm a 60-year-old version, non-athlete of Brady. He's proving he may be able to play till he's 50 years old. You can stay young with vitamins, healthy eating, obsessive attention to disciplined diet, and exercise every day. You can actually beat Father Time. It is possible.
He's doing it, and I'm really impressed with the way Herbert and Brandon Staley, their coach, have the Chargers playing. They are a definite dangerous team in the AFC.
All right, guarantee of the week. We always end with your guarantee of the week.
I'm going with your Cowboys. Two of them. Cincinnati in the college game on Saturday. They're gonna curb stomp Central Florida, and the Dallas Cowboys win again, and they win big. Their defense will shut it down this week, and the Cowboys will win huge.
Poor Belichick. He's losing that battle of who is the great one that made them Hall of Famers. Was it Belichick's coaching or Brady's quarterbacking? It's not even close at this point. Belichick without Brady isn't a good coach. It's all changed. Amazing.
It's amazing what that quarterback can do when he's got the ball in his hand 70 snaps a game, right? It's unbelievable.
Sean, great stuff.
Love you, brother. Thank you. Have a great day.
Cool. Thank you. Throw it back to Frank.
I saw that Zach Ertz just got traded to the Arizona Cardinals, who are undefeated. So Zach Ertz, now they get a tight end with all those weapons. They're 5-0. Is Arizona ever a threat to Tampa Bay come late? I mean, in the playoffs, I don't know. I mean, they're not going to go undefeated either, but boy, they look good on both sides.
Yeah, they do, and they create a problem because of the way Kyler Murray not only can move in the way that he runs, but the way he buys time and throws it. He's playing at an MVP level too, but they're getting pass rush. They're getting some really, really solid defense. And even when I judge a team not when you're playing great, when you're not playing great. They didn't play great last week, and they found a way to win.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, that to me, that's the most in vogue position in the league, that tight end position. You can never have enough good ones. Look at the Buccaneers, Howard, Gronkowski, and who am I leaving out? Oh, Cameron Brate. They got three of them. And when Gronk's healthy, and you saw O.J. Howard last night, is it the ability to create mismatch issues? And if you're Zach Ertz, and I know you love Philadelphia, much better chance in Arizona. And, of course, they're a threat because whenever you have a quarterback that can play at an MVP level, you're always going to be in it. It's not going to be an easy road for the Buccaneers. Right. But if you're a betting man, you'd have to say in an experienced game in December or January when they played in the playoffs that Tampa would have the advantage because those linebackers for Tampa run so well to keep up with a guy like Kyler Murray.
All right, now you just said if you're a betting man, which we both happen to be, and of course we love VegasWinners.com. Go get your free picks from Wayne Allyn Root. If I was betting last week, we talked about this, our lock of the year. I mean, the Titans were -4 against the Jags coming off the Urban Meyer thing, and they trounced them. I mean, it was like I bet it, and then I went back and bet it again and didn't even realize I bet it twice. It wasn't one of those accidents. I hammered it again. This week, there's a similar situation, another touchy subject, I mean, which is far more serious, I think, it is more serious than Urban Meyer, is with Gruden and the Raiders and the Broncos. The Broncos are -3.5 at home. And there's two ways to look at it. And I wanted to talk to you as a former player. Let's talk about the game before we talk about Gruden or anything. Are the Raiders going to rally or are they going to fold? Like, are they going to try to play stronger or are they going to be like, we're a joke right now. We started 3-0. What's going on and what do you see in that game, Denver at home with the Raiders -3.5?
Frank, I think this is a really interesting point because over the years when something like this happens, and let me backtrack about that gambling thing.
Sure.
I'm making a lot of money.
I know you are,
brother. I'm making a lot of money.
And by the way, you predicted Kyler Murray would win the MVP. By the way, I think at the beginning of the year.
He's still hanging around, right?
Still there.
He's still hanging around.
Yeah.
But back to a serious situation. I don't know. When something happens that teams have like that out of body experience, whether we saw Brett Favre when his father died, right?
Right.
On that
Monday night.
And play. And I don't know what that part of the factor is. I think we've all been in it, whether it's at work or whether it's in sports, that you don't know how you're going to respond. And listen, what John Gruden did was heinous and stupid, and that's well documented. And John probably needs an arm around him to say, dude, you need some help to fix this, right? Yeah. So that's for another day. But the X's and O's part of this, John Gruden hadn't won a Super Bowl with them.
Yeah.
With them.
Right.
They have not made the playoffs with them. Oh, let's see. No, because Jack Del Rio was there the last time they were in when when Connor Cook took over for Derek Carr when he broke his leg. You remember that? They lost to the Houston Texans.
That's right.
So they haven't been a playoff team. And I know they're growing, and John had a 10-year contract. But let's just look at the X's and O's of it. I'm a big fan of Gruden, have been, but he's stubborn. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of his football now. I'm not a big fan of his emails, right. Okay? But to me, with John, maybe, just maybe, because John can rub people the wrong way. He's stubborn. He can also be one of those guys, Derek Carr said, he goes, I love the guy. I love him. But the trust factor may have gone out the window with this. This had to be done. So the week of practice, you got to kind of compartmentalize and say, we still have to show up. We still have to get ready. They're not canceling our game because of John Gruden.
Right.
So the question is it a rallying cry? Both teams started out 3-0 and lost their last couple. So, Frank, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if 4 guys are going to say, great, he's gone.
Yeah.
30 guys are going to be somewhere in between, and 20 guys are going to say, I wish he wasn't gone. Or if they say, you know what, he's not here. Just like a coach would say when a player's gone. We only coach the people that are here, right? So I can imagine some of the emotion, like a guy like, Carl Nassib would be going through, who's openly gay, and happen to see that and think, well, wait, he took a personal day off, like, well, does my coach love me?
Yeah.
Which one do I believe?
Right.
But they have a job to do, and so I would fully expect them to play well.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what that rallying cry is. The rallying cry is we got a job to do and we got a paycheck to collect, and John's no longer here, so we got to go on without him. And even if some guys miss him and some guys don't, the bottom line is when they kick the ball off, you've got to play your ass off because it's football, and that's what you get paid to do regardless.
Yeah, I would stay away from betting that game, but you mentioned Derek Carr, and I think
Agreed.
I think the quote was what Derek Carr, and I loved what he said. He goes, "I love the man, I hate the sin." Right. Which I've not.
Perfect.
Derek Carr. That's I don't know if he stole that.
Perfect.
Or that's just such a great way to encapsulate the whole situation.
And you know what, Frank? You don't have to. You can. Tony Dungy, who's a man of grace and love and kindness. I would imagine if Tony runs into John, he'll put his arm around him and say, "What can I do for you?" But if John said, "Well, what do you think?" Well, I think your emails were wrong and dumb, among other things, and offensive. But the other side of it is, and Carr was perfect with that answer. Yeah. But let's face facts. He has 6 years after this year left on his contract. Frank, and who knows? Maybe you say, well, are we better now? Are we going to be less stubborn and locked in? Because John was still making the adjustment from 10 years or 12 years ago, when before Monday Night Football. So I'm really anxious to see what the dynamic is with the Raiders and how they respond now. And
is John Gruden's career over, coaching or broadcasting? I mean, Stephen A. Smith said it's done, right? I mean, who's ever going to hire him?
He's finished. He's finished. It's not just a PR hit, but the wonder what. And I don't know. I've met John a number of times. I've interviewed him. Yeah. Ironically, the last time I saw John was 6-7 years ago in the Las Vegas airport before the Raiders moved there. He was going to do something, and so was I. And we were standing in line to go through security, and we said hello. Yeah. Listen, you can love John Gruden because he's your friend if he is, and you can hate, like Derek Carr said, the send and what went on. But for me, Frank, I don't see how, forget just the PR hit, but not knowing what's in John, because I don't know what's in his soul. Right. I don't know where his DNA and the fiber of what he talks about is. So I can't imagine a network's going to say, we'll jump all over him. And I can't imagine a football coach, especially since he's had average success since he's been with the Raiders and come back. So I don't see it happening. He's made a lot of money, but John's going to go through some rock bottom trouble. Yeah. Anybody that's hit their rock bottom knows. And football's and money are probably the farthest thing from his mind right now. Getting his life right probably is the closest thing to his mind.
Well, let's just move on to a couple picks. Last week with NCAA, you and I were texting that Texas-Oklahoma, the Red River rivalry. We had 14 points within, I think, 30 seconds. It was 14-7 within like 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, that game was a shootout, and the way they won the game at the end, we had the over, is what we're saying, and that was Sean's pick last week. I know on the Capper show, and a lot of our guys love the over. It's heartbreaking if you had Texas, or like if you had Oklahoma, you're almost embarrassed the way they scored that touchdown at the end. But what do you? That was an unbelievable game.
The two big wow factors last week were obviously Alabama getting beat at A&M, which you would have said no way.
Right.
And then, because I said on this show last week, you asked me, well, can anybody beat Alabama, Georgia? I said, let me tell you, it's those two and everybody else. And I actually still think it may be those two and everybody else, but it wasn't those two. Texas A&M gave me the middle finger, basically, even though they didn't and took care of it. And then Texas giving up that lead. But that seems to always happen in that Red River game, the Red River shootout. They always battle.
And by the way, have you seen the video of the kicker for A&M? Someone was shooting his family.
Yes.
And their reaction.
Awesome.
That's one of the best.
Awesome.
I mean, that's one of the best clips. If you haven't seen it, his initials are SS. I can't think of the kid's name, but they have someone was just shooting his family in the front row at the game, and just the anxiety they have, and then the joy, and the girlfriend jumps over the wall. I'm getting chills just talking about it. It was such a great clip.
That's why you do it, man. For that final, that gut wrenching moment. Yeah. when you win them, man, that gut-wrenching moment becomes the greatest jubilation ever.
It's the highlight of his life right there. All right, so, Kentucky, Georgia. Georgia, once again, we talk about playing Kentucky, who's a good team. They're ranked 11th, minus 22.5, Georgia at home. I don't know. Do you have a pick on this game, or do you have any college games you like? I'm going to watch that game for sure.
You know what? I'm going to watch it. Isn't that – think about this for a second. You're the 11th ranked team in America. You're going to Athens, and here's how much we respect you. You're 3 touchdown and a field goal underdog.
Yeah, that's insane.
What?
Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts. But you know what? When you're doing that, that's a tough place to play. I compare Georgia's defense, and I sincerely mean this, Frank, Georgia's defense. Remember that feeling when watching Joe Burrow, even Alabama last year with Mac Jones, but Joe Burrow and LSU's offense with Joe Brady calling plays?
Yeah.
I think you just never felt anybody could stop them.
Unbelievable.
The wow factor I have for them, LSU's offense, is the same wow factor and appreciation I have for Georgia's defense.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You know what? I'm not going to bet this game, but it will not shock me if Kentucky crosses the 50 like twice and loses, 31-10, 31-3, or 31-6.
Yeah.
But I like the Cincinnati game. I do. In college, that's a pretty big one. And the look at the under. Keep an eye on the under.
Okay.
In the Miami of Ohio football game this weekend.
Okay.
Is it Akron that they're playing? Take a look at the under. I think that's way too high priced with the number of points. Keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the Cowboys game this weekend. But I like the Miami of Ohio under big time. And I think Cincinnati at 21.5 point favorites over Central Florida at home. I think Cincinnati's real.
Yeah.
I think they're going to curb stomp them. I like the way they play defense, and both offenses can score. Cincinnati's defense will be the difference. I like them this week.
And that Miami of Ohio game, Miami of Ohio and Akron, Miami of Ohio is minus 20, over-under is 50.5, right?
I'm taking the under, and I'm taking it as a
right,
blowout for Miami of Ohio, but take the under in that game.
You've been on fire. Now listen, I know you said right before the show you were wearing pink, but you were hoping it came across red for your Red Sox. We got to talk baseball. The playoffs are in high swing right now. Your Red Sox against the Astros. Now, we know you're based in Houston, so you cover Houston a lot. I know you're still rooting for the Sox. What are the people listening to your radio show down there saying?
I had the same scenario. What was it, 2018, when the Sox won the World Series? They had to go through Houston again.
And they took them, I think, 4 games to 1. Yeah,
right. That's exactly right. So I'm not a in-your-face, pound-your-chest, rub-it-in type of Red Sox fan. Now, I'm a 50-year Red Sox fan, and I'm the flagship station host of a show, my radio show. Yeah. We're the flagship of the Astros, so I can't lose in this series. Right. So my heart is Red Sox because that's my family for 50 years, and I want the Red Sox. And I'm fair on the radio. I don't overroot listen. I'm picking the Astros to win. They're the better team, and they got home field advantage. But my head says Astros because they're the better team. My heart says Red Sox. I'm just hoping it's 7 games and whoever wins. But I'm a fair analyst, and I think it's going to be a better series than some may think.
I hope so, too. Now, it wasn't a Game 7. It was a Game 5. Pretty much the same. Giants and Dodgers. I'm a Dodger. Look, I'm a Pirates fan first, but I do like the Dodgers a lot. And It was funny because I was at the Rolling Stones show last night, and when the final score came across, I could see people checking on their phones. There was a loud roar, like in the middle of a song, and I turned to my girlfriend, Courtney, and I go, I think the Dodgers just won. And I checked my phone. But on that check swing, boy, I'll tell you, the check swing, that was not a full swing. Now, I know it's Wilmer Flores. It wasn't Vlad Guerrero up there or someone you think could win the game with one swing. But, boy, I don't want replay on a check swing. I mean, a game would take 4.5 hours. But, boy, in the playoffs, I feel like there should be some special rules or a red flag for a manager because that was a really shitty call.
Yeah, maybe you should be allowed 7th inning and beyond in the postseason, one challenge.
Yeah, something.
And now it's Flores. There's a guy on first. Scherzer's on the mound. A 2-run homer or a triple or a bases clearing. You clear the guy and get a double. That's not the reason they lost.
Yeah, no, it's not.
The reason the reason San Francisco lost is they couldn't generate runs the last couple games of this series. Right. 1 run with the Longoria home run a couple games ago, and 1 run with a bomb by Ruff last night. I mean, it was smoked. But you score 1 run against a Dodgers team or an Astros or Red Sox, you're probably not going to win. The Giants had a phenomenal season, but it's not who had the best record in the regular season. It's who plays the best in the postseason. and the Dodgers are back at it again, waiting to get a chance to play the Braves. And they'll have home field advantage throughout if they continue on, because it's now best record, not division or wild card. Best record. The
I remember
Dodgers,
when I was a kid, it alternated for the World Series, National League, American League, National League, American League. I don't know. But just what a way to end that game. I mean, I hate the Braves. I'm still bitter about 1992 against the Pirates with Sid Bream coming home, which Damon Berryhill should have been called out before Francisco Cabrera singled to left and Barry Bonds wasn't ready to throw. All right, I don't want to talk about the Pirates losing 1992. It's still inside and it hurts. But I'm rooting for Dodgers Astros. I think is what everyone would want to see. Dodgers Boston people, the TV people would be very happy with those two big markets. But the baseball playoffs, we're in for a good ride, I think, with this Final Four.
Can't wait. I love the drama of postseason baseball, man. I'm with you.
Attention, sports bettors. Has anyone ever given you $1,000 before? I mean, really given you $1,000 in free point spread advice. I'm Wayne Allyn, the man in media calls the king of Vegas sports gambling and America's odds maker. To celebrate our new website, Vegas Winners, I'm giving $1,000 of free coupons to the first 10,000 sports bettors who register. It's simple and easy. Just be among the first 10,000 to register right now at Vegas Winners for your $1,000 of free coupons. Sports gambling, legal and licensed in states all over the USA. And I built the world's best sports handicapping website for you because you need expert advice. We've got it all. Free picks and best bets every day from 21 champion handicappers, as well as the latest scores and odds, and every sports handicapping tool you need to win big. All of that free. It's fully automated, completely private, no one to ever speak to. Be one of the first 10,000 to register right now and get your $1,000 of free coupons. Go right now to Vegas Winners, your new home for sports betting advice. That's Vegas Winners.
All right, last thing. I was talking about the Rolling Stones, one of the greatest shows I've ever seen last night. Before we go, just wanted to hear maybe your favorite concert you've ever been to.
Oh, man.
Or a couple. Just a couple.
I'll tell you what, Elton John was phenomenal.
Yep.
John Cougar Mellencamp, I think that was his name then. I saw him in Market Square Arena in his home state of Indiana.
Right.
And then, ironically, years later, I'm on a vacation in Maui when I'm doing ESPN at television, and I'm at the Four Seasons Wailea, and he and his wife are in the back by the pool. So I'm throwing routes to John Cougar Mellencamp. I want to talk music. He wants to talk football. And I'm throwing passes to him on the side part of the grass part of the hotel pool.
Unbelievable.
So there's that. Michael Jackson at Dodger Stadium. Chavez Ravine. Phenomenal. Prince at the Forum.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
I was there for
Dude, I've been to a lot of great concerts. My first concert, you never forget that. I was a sophomore in high school, and I could smell weed for like miles, and I didn't know what it was. And the guy who was a little more veteran enthusiast on the marijuana, a former teammate of mine, said, Sean, that's marijuana. I said, I'm 16 or 15, not have a clue. And it was Cheap Trick, Pat Travers, Blue Oyster Cult, and UFO. So I've been to a lot of them, but the ones Michael Jackson puts on a great show.
Pat Travers, man, snorting whiskey, drinking cocaine, man.
That's exactly right, brother.
Pat Travers, and although
you and me both.
All those shows you mentioned, Prince, Michael Jackson, saw John Cougar Mellencamp do a 3-hour show. It was on Thanksgiving '84 in Pittsburgh. There was a couple in front of us that had sex. I was 15. I had never seen that. They were literally having sex during pink houses. So anytime I hear pink houses,
they were just dry humping. Don't worry about it.
I don't know.
It's all good. You know the one concert that I didn't get to go to, I'll let you finish, is that I'm sick over, is that I never got to see Led Zeppelin, who I think is the best rock and roll band of all time.
Yeah, I was too young. I mean, their last show was 79, I think, or something. Yeah, I was too young, but that's one I think for a lot of people probably missed. But
who's your favorite concert? Give me one.
Elton John, Billy Joel face to face when they toured. I saw that 4 or 5 times. I'm a big Billy Joel guy, but I saw Prince. I saw Michael Jackson on his Bad tour. In his prime. I mean, so those and Mellencamp. I mean, you literally mentioned 4 or 5 that are my favorites too.
I love it. And I saw Stevie Wonder, which was awesome as well. Loved it.
Stevie Wonder do his Christmas show here in LA a couple years ago. He was like in between. He only did a few songs, but I saw Stevie Wonder. Exactly. All right, another great show, Sean. I love when we just talk pop culture and we go off into smoking and Philadelphia 76ers announcers. I love it. We have you love Cincinnati. You love Cincinnati in college. And in pros, we're staying away from Denver, and we're staying away from the Raider game, staying away from that. I love it. All right, listen, keep watching Crush House. Watch all the Crush House shows. We got a ton of great ones. Thank you to Wayne Allyn Root. Thank you to Sean Salisbury. I gotta go.
Thanks for tuning into the Krush House today. I want to remind you to go to vegaswinners.com right after this podcast ends for one of my world famous games of the year. Just register. It's simple. It's easy. It takes a minute or less. And you automatically receive $1,000 in free coupons, which you can apply to my game of the year. And of course, there's the point spread winners. We've got free winners every day, plus best bets for our team of 21 champions, the greatest lineup ever assembled. All you have to do is take 1 minute or less to register. Go to vegaswinners.com right now, follow the prompts, and you automatically get the picks, the wisdom, the analysis, and the winning point spread advice. Thank you for dropping into another episode of Krush House, because winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Until next time, just beat the point spread, baby.
I'm going to do a little Mick Jagger, though. Here we go. I know we're waiting for this. Stop me up! Oh, it's terrible. Let him do it. He's 78. He knows what he's doing. Oh, my God. That was embarrassing. Do not use that. They're using it.